everyone, Ian here from Synthstream Audible. We're at Soup Booth. Just want to show a few new features from our upcoming 3.0 firmware. So one of the key things, which is actually will be really big for our existing users, is that you no longer have to set a predetermined length of a track when you're recording notes into it. So basically, if you've got a track and it has no note information in it, when you start recording, it's just going to keep on recording until you tell it to stop. So you can either use an external keyboard, you can use the internal synth engines, of course, and then when you press record, that's when it stops. And then it'll start looping. And what this means is the Deluge is now also a MIDI and CV looper. So anything that's sending note information will create loops. Now, how loops are basically made in this? So that's like live looping of MIDI note information. But if we want to be doing this to audio, what we do is we now have this new functionality. So normally the existing you got CV, you got MIDI, you got CAP, synth. So when you're setting a clip, you choose one of those. Now select is now a fifth button. So that makes an audio clip. So different to a synth clip, MIDI and CV. Now once you've set an audio clip, you then just set what your input source is. So the learn button, which is now doubling as learn and input, you hold down that, press on the track that you've just made, and now you choose what the input source is going to be. So it can be left with monitoring, right with monitoring, stereo. See that little dot there, that means it's monitoring, or the output of the, which is your current internal output that it's making. So now what this also means is that you no longer have to set up the drone nodes and make your line in an oscillator to actually hear the input. You actually can just bypass that by setting up monitoring. Now, so once you've done that, this is when you can start looping. So if you have some devices feeding into it, now to do that, okay, I'm going to have to zoom back a little wee bit so you can see this happening. Now, when I press the launch button as normal, that will arm it and it will start recording at the start of the next bar. Otherwise, I can override that. So you can see here we've got this recording now. But I'm doing this in a track with no information, so it's not recording anything. That's just to show that UI. I'll bring up a song that already has stuff in it. All right, how about this? So let's create an audio clip.
My story is I'm developing
and we'll set it to record the output.
Which is very similar.
And so you can see now, we've got this resampling the output of the Deluge. Now, the really cool thing about this is that you can set the tracks that are currently playing to mute at the same time that your loop starts playing. So, unfortunately, I would have had to do this with section view to have them go automatically. Let's try that. Wasn't fast enough. Anyway, so you'd want to be having that in the same screen. But anyway, that will mean that you can free up CPU and your loop is now going to be playing everything at the output. Will continue looping, and then you just start doing really cool stuff. Like you can go into your newly recorded audio clip and maybe set that to reverse, or change the length of it by adjusting the length. You can apply effects to that, and then maybe unmute some of your existing tracks that fit into that recording. So we start really doing some really interesting stuff live with it. So people who maybe initially thought they weren't into looping, it actually becomes a really interesting new workflow to use. You can also just keep adding more loops by when you hold down record and then just tap a pad on an empty row. It will just start recording using the same settings that you previously had. Or you can do this really interesting thing which we're kind of calling spawning or overdubbing, where it will just keep on recording. Sorry, I'm just going to have to quickly set up again.
This is us. Retro Modular from Sydney.
So let's say we're setting up the left channel.
open a new track.
Once we get that going, I'm still getting used to the UI of this. Once we set that going, that's just going to keep on recording more overdubs. So it's a really interesting way, especially people who use like modular gear. What they could do is just have their rig set up, be like tweaking, and then just constantly just recording all these loops. And then, you know, once the loop's recorded, you can mute that on the fly. You know, once you've recorded up enough loops that you want to have a jam with, then you just start jamming with them on here, start adding effects. So it's a really interesting, entirely new workflow of using the Deluge. We've got a few other things I can tell you about now. So there will be, I'm not actually sure how it's going to be done yet because it's not here right now, but there will be like a kind of a pre-record, some sort of like counter utility, just to help people. And again, we know that that's been a long requested feature for a very long time, as well with that self-extending record of a track. What else can I tell you? Oh, so this is quite exciting. For those of you who use Arranger, you can now use audio clips in Arranger. So if I go into Arranger view, what I can do is I can set an empty row to now be an audio clip. So I can hold down, set that to be an audio clip. I'll zoom out, and you can just set a white instance for as long as you want to be recording. Now, then when you go into record, it'll be playing your arrangement and also recording. I'll just zoom in so you can see that moving. So you can see we've now got this track recording while our arrangement's playing. So because you can separate your instruments left and right, you can actually have two tracks recording. So you can record like a vocal and another synth line, or a vocal and a guitar or whatever. So yeah, so recording straight into the arranger is another really exciting feature. QWERTY keyboard is a massive addition for the Deluge. How you do it is by going into a clip. Say you want to go into this one here, and then you can just decide to save that. Let's just save this one as, what should we do? Bass. Bass. All right. So now when you're viewing your tracks in Song View, you can just hold your finger down in the row and you can see what that's called. So what this means is actually like the color coding isn't actually that important anymore, and instead you can use a new workflow where you can zoom out so you can actually see the full length of all your clips, because you no longer have to look at the colors, because you can just hold your finger down to know which track is which. And something that's really going to excite our kind of MIDI sequencing users. We're not promising this in 3.0, fingers crossed, but definitely in 3.1, is that you'll be able to save MIDI tracks. So what that means is that when you're sequencing, you'll be able to hold your finger down a track and you'll be able to name which MIDI device that's going to. But more importantly, is it means you'll be able to save all the settings of a MIDI track. So you'll be able to go into this track, save all your CCs, you know, say you're singing something or whatever, Juno, save all your CCs for that, save it as Juno. Then next time you go to start a song, you just load in all the templates you want, all the synths you're going to use in that song. And it also means that users can start sharing those templates online. Someone who's made they've made a map in for a TR8, they can just like name it TR8 and then host that online. Everyone can download that and call that into their Deluges. So that's a really massive. I hope everyone's really excited, because I think 3.0 is going to bring huge new workflow possibilities. It's not just people who want to loop their guitars. It's an entirely new way of using the Deluge.
Thanks, Ian.